on Facebook or via email at contact@thehive.com.hk. We also have an exciting array of online events in everything from business and wellness to creativity. So head over to the Hive Hong Kong Facebook page to be a part of the buzz. Here's a sneak peek of the Hive. Have a look before the event begins.
Regular events that are designed to engage and connect the community and bring like-minded people together. We provide a positive working environment and tailor memberships for our members, help their company to grow not only in Hong Kong but internationally as well. It is always exciting to hear members making progress in their new businesses.
My name is Joseph Cheney, and I'm a co-founder of New Narrative. Well, I really credit the Hive actually with getting us off the ground in many ways. So we've grown from 1 person to 10 during that 6-year time frame. We are opening an office in Singapore this year, so the team will be expanded. The effects of a shared space, and everybody there is trying to start their own business as well. That creates a feeling of shared destiny that really helped. Even when I was just a hot tester alone, I really felt like the business was real. And now that we've grown, it provides a really fun office to work with.
La forêt de nouveau frémit. Je profite du silence. Dans la forêt, je te retrouve à l'heure opportune. Un rendez-vous improvisé sous la lune. Ton sourire crispé. Situation compliquée, je sens ton souffle qui me frôle.
Okay, great, guys. Without any further ado, I'm going to let Olga take it away. Also, please feel free to ask any questions along the way in the chat section of Zoom. All right, thanks, Olga. Go ahead.
Okay. Hello, hello. And let me start by sharing the screen so that we will get the slides going. So today we are going to talk about the brain. So I guess it will be interesting for anybody who has it. I hope that I will help to take your already extraordinary brain up and create a super version of that. And if anybody has problems like brain fog or some memory issues or maybe some early onset of any unpleasant degenerative situations, you will have some takeaways as well to improve that. So let me go. Okay, so my name is Olga, and I'm a health coach, and among other things, I'm also a biotherapist and environmental sustainability consultant. But today we'll talk mostly as a coach. So before we begin, I would like to invite you to arrive into here and now. And to help us to do that, I would like to take a deep breath together with you and kind of scan the body, arrive at the present moment, and set intentions. Usually intentions for the webinar are to take something useful, something cool, to get inspired or re-inspired, because I'm sure that a lot of things that I will talk about you know already, but it's nice to have a reminder to take care of yourself. I also hope that you will learn something new today. Okay, so let's begin. A couple of words about who I am and why I'm here with you today. I was born in Russia and then started to travel all over the world, lived in different countries and different continents. And I'm constantly curious about anything to do with health and happiness. And so that is what I'm going to share with you, my journey. Even though we'll be talking about some health issues, I want to be very, very clear that even a doctor shouldn't be giving their medical advice over a webinar, but definitely not an educator who I am. So please consider everything that I'm saying is my opinions, and um, use it as educational tool only. Okay, so what is this SuperBrain webinar about? I think that will be quite interesting to understand what we can do and how to do it, and get some practical tips. Some of them will be super simple and even silly. Some of them will be complicated and maybe require some deeper dives into research. But I hope to talk about everything to do with upgrading your normal brain to SuperBrain, and also help to restore the function. It can be after the physical head trauma or emotional trauma, or there are a lot of situations where some dysfunctions may develop. We will talk more about the reasons why a bit later. Also, Alzheimer's and a lot of other neurodegenerative diseases on the rise. So I hope that this webinar will help you to prevent this unpleasant situation. So we will talk about a lot of different brain functions. I will not go in depth into the functions, so now I will just give you the overview, and then we'll just jump into the practical tools. So we will talk about things that will improve the memory, neuroplasticity, which is flexibility of our brain and the ability to learn and to function better. So about speed and quality of decision making, and also our emotional stability, which is extremely important as well. Okay, so how we're going to do it, these will be the main parts of the talk today. So I will introduce you to my favorite signature system that I call Vitality Pillars, how to heal yourself as easy as 1, 2, 3. So we will apply this system to the brain. We will look at what causes problems with our brain functions. I call them neurorobbers, the different areas that destroy our brain. Then we will look at the solutions. I would call them more, not the guards, probably the guardians, because the guards and the robbers maybe sound a little bit too prison-like. So let's switch them to guardians. Okay, and some of the guardians are actually very tasty. So we will talk about the brain food, all sorts of smart spices and herbs and supplements. And then we will talk also about the neurohacks. So we will talk about the lifestyle choices, right? And also, for those of you who would like to get the copy of this presentation, as well as the kind of a printout of the vitality pillars with some ideas on how to use them, you are welcome to email me, and I will get it to you. So there are 3 vitality pillars that I would like to introduce to you. They apply pretty much to anything in our life. And hey, Misha. So the idea is to identify the problems that too much of something I call toxicity. And the solution for too much is to stop the inflow and to let it out. They call it detox. The second part of the problem can be not enough of something. That's what I call deficiency. And we can have deficiency not only in foods and nutrients, but also, deficiency in knowledge, deficiency in self-love and understanding. There are a lot of different ones. And the third one is stagnation. So our pain, physical or emotional, usually is caused by interrupted flow, right? Something is broken or something is stuck. So when we start to move and circulate and improve the flow, that will take care of the stagnation part. Okay, to make it very, very simple, that's what I call the baby language, is the bad things out, the good things in, and keep moving, keep circulating. So that's the three vitality pillars. Now we will talk about the foundation for these pillars. They stand on the foundation of self-love, self-care, self-respect. So you cannot really use tools effectively if there is no why. Yeah, so this is kind of the foundation, the mindset, why we're doing it. Yeah, we're not fighting with anything, we're creating something beautiful. Okay, so now let's go into the neuro-robber part of our talk. Let's see which areas of our life can cause problems and negatively affect our brain function. So stress can be positive and negative. A little bit of stress is essential for us to be toned. You probably heard about use it or lose it idea. So if there is absolutely no stress, then there is no training, like our brain muscles will disappear. So we'll need to stress them out a little bit. But chronic stress can really be destructive. What about the poor sleep? A lot of times we feel that we need to study more, or work more, or be better parents, and we sacrifice our sleep. And unfortunately, the results are exactly the opposite of what we wanted to achieve. Because if we do not flush our brains during sleep, do not allow the time to regenerate, we will make poor decisions, poor choices, we will be irritable, and we just will not allow our brain to function up to the level that we expect it to. So super important. Okay, so the third one is everything to do with technology and the modern day conveniences. It's nice to create time periods and some special zones in your life when there is a minimum exposure to anything that is high tech. I will not go too much into it, but this is one of their biggest stressors for our brain and really can show negative results. When we talk about toxins can come to our brain from a lot of different areas. And they are not limited to something that we eat, because usually we say, oh, toxins is, what came through the food. We can inhale it because everything around us can outgas. So if we're surrounded by, again, modern conveniences, that's what we're going to inhale. What we put on our skin, what we spray around our house, our kitchenware, our clothes, everything can contribute to the toxicity if it's not natural and mindfully selected. Even metals in our mouth, like not just mercury filling, but pretty much any, or let's say most metals in the mouth can create toxicity, and it's very close to the brain. Their beauty and hair salons are notorious for um, putting toxins pretty much directly. You know, you put the hair dye and it seeps into your brain. Not a nice thing to do for optimal function. Okay, but let's move on to the stagnation part. So why stagnation destroys your brain? Well, first of all, if you're an adult and you set a boring routine for yourself, and everything that you learn, you kind of go into the same direction, same focus, you can actually detrimentally affect your brain function, because they are not creating this new connections, new synapses, and that is not so good. Our body, when they're not moving, also can create problems for the brain, because even little things, which are actually big things like hydration, extremely important to the brain function. Brain also needs to receive blood and release blood, that carries oxygen, food, and the products of metabolism out. So circulation is super important, and sedentary lifestyle is the big problem for all these functions. And of course, constipation, you probably uh, can imagine that accumulated wastes are not going to affect beautifully any part of the body, including the brain. Okay, so the next is the traumas, especially head traumas, all sorts of contusions, concussions, and all sorts of um, physical trauma is very important to address. And there are ways to address, there are so-called reset programs, the different protocols that help. It's best done, of course, if you can scan it before, during, and after the protocols. But even if you follow some of the suggestions that we're going to talk about later today, even if you do not have access to a doctor who is well versed in this protocols, you can still help yourself. The next neurorobber is one of the biggest ones, is inflammation. Most infections cause inflammation, but inflammation can be caused by some of the other neurorobbers, right? So chronic stress and all sorts of technotoxins and food toxins, and all sorts of anti nutrients, and many different things can contribute to their unhealthy chronic inflammation. Again, just like with stress, we need inflammation from time to time. So there is very good productive inflammation that is acute. But then what I'm talking about here is their slow burning chronic one that our immune system gets accustomed to, and doesn't react as much as it needs to. So the next point is the leaky gut that causes leaky brain. A lot of times we hear that our gut is called the second brain. And there are a lot of different reasons for that. Our gut microbes produce a lot of neurotransmitters. That's how they send signals. And if you have really unhealthy microbes inside, they can chemically manipulate your brain and send you like a zombie to buy and eat something that is good for them and not for you. So a lot of parasitic organisms actually trick us this way, using our ways of communication between gut and brain. Also, very important point is the blood-brain barrier permeability. If your gut is inflamed, there is a very big chance that this barrier will be breached because it's inflamed as well. So very important, when you notice some problems like brain fogs or memory lapses or stuff like that, to address your gut first, because after that it will be much, much easier to take care of your first brain. Yeah, take care of your second brain first. So another neurorobber is a process called glycation. Um, when we cook our food, well, actually in some foods, this glycation end products can happen naturally, like in some animal foods. In plant foods, they happen only when cooked. But the idea is that when you use very, very high heat, um, some of their fats can combine with sugars, proteins with sugars, or fats with sugars. When they are glued together, that is the process of glycation that creates very toxic substances for our brain. How to avoid that is the wet cooking. So, their moist heat with the lowest temperatures and their least amount of time. It's also using something acid like vinegar or lemons. So that style of cooking can really help to minimize, to get this kind of robber out of our brain. The next one is anti-nutrients. They're advanced glycation end products. The ages actually also can be called an anti-nutrient, because what anti-nutrients do, on top of not giving us nutrients and something nice, they actually rob us. They require some of the nutrients to be processed and thrown out. So unfermented soy products like soy milk and tofu are examples of foods that are rich in some of these anti-nutrients. Vegetable oils that highly processed and in industrialized ways are very good examples of anti-nutrients. I call them the liquid plastic. So um, in my kitchen, you will see only olive oil, coconut oil, and maybe some ghee, but not all these plastic bottles filled with the liquid plastic inside. So pretty much any kind of junk food usually is very rich in anti-nutrients. Here I gave examples like lectins and oxalates. Actually, all these examples can be neutralized by traditional cooking. So the lectins and oxalates and histamines and agglutinins, they are all toxins that our grandmothers knew how to handle. So a lot of them are minimized by fermentation, by slow cooking, by a lot of other traditional methods. So what is excitotoxin? Excitotoxin is a substance that goes into your brain and literally blows it. So it excites your neurons to the point that they explode. What are excitotoxins? How do we get them into our body, into our brain? So the most common is probably MSG and the sugar substitutes like aspartame. And MSG can be in their recognizable form as the white crystal powder, but a lot of monosodium glutamate is not recognized because it can hide behind dozens and dozens of different names. So every time you buy processed food that says that it has some isolates, like isolated protein, something textured, hydrolyzed, autolyzed, read excitotoxin that blows your brain and destroys your neurons. So, something to stay away from. And the last, but definitely not least, probably the most important, the biggest robber of all is our sugar imbalances. So when we become insulin resistant and we manifest either hyper or hyperglycemia. It's extremely important for our brain, and it can be a cause of inflammation. It can be a cause of dysfunctions on so many different levels. So please check your insulin resistance from time to time. But every time you go to the doctor to do your checkup, ask them to do a fasting insulin level to understand if you are resistant or not. And then if the doctor is not familiar with the functional test reading, you can ask the functional medicine doctor to read it for you, because a lot of times the so-called normal ranges are not so normal. They're common, but they are not very functionally normal. And since I'm a health coach, not a doctor, I'm not allowed to read them, but I just get a sneak peek in my clients' charts. And, I love working with the good, open-minded doctors who understand this stuff. Sugar imbalances for brain, I would say, if not number one, then number two after the leaky gut. That these are the two things that we definitely need to address if we want our brains to function. Okay, so these were the problems. Let's go for the solutions. So how can we improve our brain function and get all these destroyers and the robbers in check? So some of them can be surprising for you, like the first item on this list, what I put is the sun. Is very important to set our circadian rhythm for all systems and functions by exposing your eyes, your brain, your skin, your hormonal system to light that is not filtered through windows or is not artificial light, right? So we need to get in sync with the universe by even the short time, like 5-10 minutes, but expose yourself to the sun in the morning, afternoon, and the evening. So ideally sunrise, midday, and sunset, but whatever works for you. So another brain hack is using the cold. There are a lot of interesting books and articles written recently about it, but it's been used for long time. Many people who experience brain fog sometimes just intuitively know to go and splash their face with cold water. Even this little exposure can help. But so the sleep is like poor sleep was a part of our neuro robber list. So the good sleep is absolutely essential as a neuro guard. It's I cannot stress it enough how important the good quality sleep is. And again, that can be a topic of a special discussion, because how you prepare yourself, what kind of rituals you create, what kind of environment, technologically speaking, you have. Do you charge your phone in your bedroom? Do you have any screens with the little red lights? What are your mindset and the kind of the rituals, and are you eating right before going to bed? All that is super important. The next neuro guardian is the smart hydration. So why I say smart hydration? Because more is not always better, right? So when we were talking about the brain function, some people say, hey, I'm getting old, I don't have all the neurons, the quantity goes down. But the quantity and quality are, two sides. And I would say that quality is much more important. So if you have less neurons, after a trauma, or, just decreasing the number over years, you can more than compensate for that by creating the smart connections. So same with hydration. It's not always about drinking more. It's about drinking smart. So how do you drink smart? First of all, you can eat your water. What does it mean? It means that you just eat everything you can fresh, your vegetables, the greens, fruit. So, everything that is juicy and full of natural, structured, beautiful water, go for it. Eat your water. The second I put here is salt. So what is salt? It's a bunch of minerals that make water to flow easier and to hydrate us better. So, we can get all the minerals from other sources, from the food, but we also need to have minerals, read sea salt in our water, because if water is very heavily filtered, like reverse osmosis or God forbid distilled water, I never recommend drinking that, especially out of the plastic containers. So that water becomes very acidic, very aggressive, and it will not hydrate you. It actually can pull the minerals out and cause dehydration. So a pinch of salt, not to the point that the water feels salty, just enough to make it tastier, can save the situation. So that's what I call the smart drinking. And the third component of smart hydration is micro movements. So when you just move around, you can create this pumping motion in your hydraulic systems that these micro movements are very, very important. So sedentary lifestyle, like we were talking before, part of the problem with that is that we become dehydrated. Okay, so from smart hydration, now go to the smart food. What would I call smart food? That would be anything that grows the closest to you. So the smartest, the most luxurious food grows right outside your window. So when you go out and you can pick something and put in your mouth, like today my breakfast was the butterfly pea flowers. They were plentiful and beautiful, and that was my part of the rainbow superfood. So if you don't have a garden, then go to the next best, to the farmer's market, to your neighbors, friends, buy local, colorful and flavorful foods. That is absolute base, because you cannot supplement your way to health if you don't have the base to supplement, right? So supplements shouldn't be substitutes. They should supplement something that is as good as possible already. So that's what I call the rainbow base. We will talk a little bit more about the neurobiotics, nootropics, and all sorts of brain nutrients a little bit later. But this is just to give you an idea that neurobiotics are the substances that feed our microbiota, that is very, very important for brain function, for mood stabilizing, for creating all sorts of neurotransmitters that are important. Okay, so since we are on the topic of food, here's the easiest hack of all times that doesn't cost any time, any money, and actually saves both time and money. That is called fasting. And fasting can be prolonged or can be as long as 12 hours. That's why I put 12 there as a reminder. So if we create a window in our 24-hour day that is at least 12 hours long, when we don't eat, that's already a mini fast that can be very, very helpful to the brain, that will allow it to regenerate and restore the function. And On the slide, you can see 12/3. So what is 3? 3 is a reminder not to eat 3 hours before bedtime. That also is very, very helpful if you want to allow your brain to restore during the night. And the keto part is can be done for certain categories of people for certain periods of time. I am not a big advocate of very strict ketogenic diet for the rest of your life, but there are times and there are protocols when keto really shows some wonderful results. There are some cases with Alzheimer's and a lot of other um, neurodegenerative conditions that were slowed down and even reversed using this approach. Okay, so next, Guardian is also free, just like fasting. It's called breathing. So with the help of breathing, we can help to calm ourselves down. We can create environment that is very, very helpful for the brain regeneration. There are a lot of different techniques. I will share with you a couple that I really like. So one is called belly breathing. You can put a hand on your belly and just on the inhale, get your hand away. On the exhale, get your hand in. You can use like a little thread to do that as well, or you can lay down and put some heavy books on yourself. So that is a very, very helpful technique for the brain restoration. The box breathing is a box with the 4 equal sides. So you inhale, hold, exhale, hold for the equal amount of time. You can choose the time that is comfortable for you. So I'm not going to give you any like seconds and time periods. Just try it out. It's very, very helpful stuff. In Ayurveda, there are a lot of breathing techniques. So one of them is the alternate nostril. When you inhale through one, exhale through the other, inhale and exhale through the. So that is something that can help you to get into the right wavelength before doing something important when you need to make a decision. So just a few breaths like that, and you are ready to perform better, or you're ready to fall asleep. So that is something that can be used in both cases to get you calm and alert, or calm and sleepy. I'm also a big fan of, I guess, being Russian, I cannot avoid that. The Russian health coach. I love Strelnikova method and the Buteyko methods of breathing. I'm not going to go into it now, but just to bring it into your awareness. Another free technique, well, unless you buy a special device for it, but normally it should be free and pleasant, is called earthing or grounding. So we can discharge a lot of unnecessary stress and anxiety and some things that accumulate in our body by just touching the ground. So it can be a little walk barefoot. It can be just, if you are in a city situation where you cannot kick your shoes off, just touch a live tree that grows in the ground, in the ground, in the soil. That will be helpful already, so you can restore it. In the buildings, in the offices, or in your bedroom, you can purchase special grounding or earthing pads that attach to the, the ground part of the outlet. Okay, so next is aerobics for our brain, because this use it or lose it, when we're talking about stress, definitely applies to the brain. Brain likes some novelty to function optimally. So there are a lot of different ways how you can create the novelty. Like even if you're scrolling with your computer mouse, try to use another finger, try to do something with the opposite hand. Right now I have a little golf ball that is rolling under my feet and is creating their stimulus for the brain. So there are all these funny things that are free to use that can really help out, but there are also fancy computer programs and um, different websites dedicated to neurobics and can help you to test your level and then do some games and exercises to improve your brain function. So neurobics can be also art, like the neurographics, I would call it a part of the neurobics as an art therapy. So, there are tons and tons of things that you can do. Uh, as for some of the useful things that you can do right now is you can implement mindfulness practices next time you go shopping. Try to minimize the robbers and shop for some of the guardians, right? So read the labels, make sure you don't bring the robbers into your own house, literally, and into the house of your soul, your body. Yeah. So here I wanted to share a couple of stories on how neuroplasticity can be restored by just being aware of what is robbing our brain of power and what is adding to it. So one of their stories is a case of a 10-year-old boy who was addicted to the screen and the games. So what happened in his brain, his limbic system got really overactivated, and the frontal lobe couldn't develop properly. And over time, he became socially dysfunctional, and there were a lot of problems in the family and in school. So that is so-called negative neuroplasticity that was in effect. What parents did after consultation, kicking and screaming, took the screens away and created opportunities to be outdoor and to interact, to have like personal contact with people and to create the new connections, the new experiences. So luckily that was reversed, and the child now can play his games in a much more mindful way, and like all the development went much in more harmonious way. Another story that I wanted to share with you is of an adult. Imagine that there is a 35-year-old young man who has been working in the office for a while and decided to take a university course. And remembering how easy it was for him in the college, he just jumped on the books, but then he realized that after 20 minutes, his concentration was off. He was extremely tired and cranky, and he just was looking for all sorts of excuses not to do that. And it scared him because just not long ago, that was a piece of cake for him. So what is their suggestion in this case? How to reverse this negative neuroplasticity and create the positive one? Well, first of all, tired, really take a nap, because he was trying to run a marathon after sitting on the sofa for years and years in front of TV, literally. That's what he did. He was coming from the office home and not moving much mentally or physically. So expecting of himself all these heroic results was not really practical and not realistic. So when he got tired, the suggestion was just to close the eyes and take a little nap. Sometimes it would be just a few minutes. Also to get up after that and move around, like physically move around. And then when he got back to the books, this couple of little things really made a huge change. So he could increase the concentration and the time he could productively spend with the university studies much better. So, you know, some of the teas that he was taking while taking his little walk were adaptogenic cognitive tonics and stuff. But in general, you know, I just want to show you how easy it is to reverse something that scared you. Yeah, the reduction of the function. Okay. So when you're talking about letting go and detoxifying your body, please be aware that there are a lot of different toxins, a lot of different ways to detox. So you can apply any types of detoxification that is most relevant in your life. Because when you kind of sit down and ask this question, what is too much in my life right now, you will have an answer, and that will be your focus, like your area of detox, and any of them will help your brain. Okay, so now we kind of got the bad stuff out. What can we bring in? There are a lot of different foods, especially dark and colorful foods that specific for the brain function. Also fat. Our brain is mostly fat, up to 80%. And also our nerves are isolated by a myelin sheath that is fat. All our cells are made of fat. So we need high quality fat to come so you can circulate, you can release their old fats and replace them with new ones. So avocados, coconut oils, you know, all sorts of fatty organs, you know, caviar. So one of the important things to understand that there are some fats that are stable, like coconut oil is very stable, but there are some fats that are very fragile. So the fragile fats like omega-3s are better consumed inside the original matrix, inside the food. Like for example, if I want to get the plant-based omega-3s, let me see, yeah, I have it. So I put a bunch of different seeds in the jar, mix them together. That you know, all these seeds have their own purpose and function. We will talk a little bit later about the Nigella sativa, their, you know, black cumin seed that is specific for brain. But here I have like 20 different seeds. So it's poppy seed, it's flax seed, is hemp seed, is chia seed. There are, you know, a lot of different, whatever you can find. So to get the omega-3 unspoiled, what I do, you know, I don't want to just eat it and pass and plant them somewhere. I want to use their nutrients. So I want to open them up. How I open them up? I put it in the grinder for a few seconds. And I do it right before I, you know, use it. Like I put it in my smoothie or some Buddha bowl or a cereal or, you know, salad or whatever. So just open them up and use them fresh. That will be the best source of plant-based omega-3s. But unfortunately, omega-3s from plants are not ready for use. They need to be converted. And a conversion of AL to DHL, DHA is usually no more than 2%. So you need to have a lot of it, and you need to have very healthy liver function and a lot of other things in your digestive system going perfectly to benefit. So people who really need to up their level of omega-3s, they pretty much have to go for the animal sources like anchovies and sardines and caviar and you know, the cod liver oil. All of them are great sources. So cacao, like raw cacao, the little nibs, and the dark chocolate are also great thing for our brain. And pretty much all colorful roots are there as well, and the dark green leafy vegetables and any dark greens like spirulina, chlorella, the microalgae that also can be in that category. Okay, so here is my personal secret. You know, my mom, who graduated from several universities and never stopped learning, shared this little secret with me. So when I was studying very hard in school or university, I would get a handful of walnuts and chew them very well with some delicious raw honey. And by the way, now I'm getting my most famous smart drug, the coffee. I'm lucky to be a fast metabolizer, so I can drink it several times a day. But please be respectful with this powerful drug, and drink it only if you can handle it, and you can detox it out in time for sleep. Okay. There are a lot of different herbs from different traditions that important for brain. So in Ayurveda, ashwagandha is very popular, and you can use it as a supplement. Like, for example, this is what I've been using. But every time you have opportunity to use herbs in culinary context, please do so. Like turmeric is one of those super herbs that are good for everything, including the brain function. And reishi is one of my favorite adaptogens that I put in my coffee, and it's a part of my adaptogenic cognitive tonic as well. So I'm not going to go through all of them. Actually, we are getting close to the end, so I'm going to kind of go through a lot of slides. And for people who are interested in seeing what is on the slides, you can email me, and I will send the presentation to you. So don't worry if you miss out on something. Again, that's the traditional Middle Eastern mix of different spices that is a well-known cognitive tonic. So that, let's go further. For those of you who are not familiar with the term adaptogen, which I already used several times, that is one of my favorite class of herbs, because they're so safe and so non-specific. So even if you make a mistake, you will not be punished for it. And the longer you take them, the stronger the benefits will be for your well-being in general, and for brain in particular. So there are a lot of different adaptogens. I group them by like flowers, berries, mushrooms, roots. So this is some of the examples on something, again, you can use as a culinary herb or as a supplement. Okay. So ginseng, ashwagandha, astragalus, licorice, and the krachai dam, which is a nice black or purple root in Thailand. Very, very amazing for the brain. So I encourage you to use your creativity and to find different ways to use all these different foods and herbs. I usually like to either prepare something fresh or to use powders. I call them my neuro star dust. So to become a neuro star, you can use this dusting, the powders of turmeric and maca and cinnamon and all the other herbs that you heard from me or you already knew, or maybe hopefully I will inspire you to Google some of these brain foods, and you can get some more ideas. So you can use them in drinks. um, I sometimes make their slow cooking tonics. I also use fermentation, like I would put herbs for their second kombucha fermentation and create different vinegars and tonics this way. I also use some of the substances in alcohol. So that is my cognitive tonic that I use after the water extraction to get some of the constituents that were not extracted before. Like, for example, chaga mushroom that is very popular in Russia is one of those amazing mushrooms that I would use as tea first and then put in vodka for a few months to get the tincture out. So another idea on how to implement all this brain food ideas is to upgrade your broth when you're cooking the soup, to get something that is very dense in nutrients, like seafood, seaweed, for example. The kombu is great for long simmering when you're making either bone broth or even vegetable broth. Also, shiitake mushrooms are great to add the taste. You get your umami together with all the brain benefits. Also, astragalus and burdock are great additions to the broth. Again, don't have much time to go through a lot of nutrients. Just there are supplements that should be used as supplements, not substitutes, right? So one of them is a group called nootropics, which is kind of the term that is applied to synthetic and to natural substances. I suggest starting with the safest and go with something that we've been eating a long time, that is natural and plant-based. And then if you want to experiment with others, just research, make sure that you understand all the risks and benefits so that you make an informed decision and you go to the people who know what they're doing. So they can really work miracles, but they can also hurt you if you do not use the caution. So be careful with synthetic nootropics especially. So these are some of their herbal nootropics, like bacopa and gotukola, some the skull caps. Nootropics can be classified by their function. Again, I'm just going through very fast. So for attention, for memory, for depression and anxiety, for general wellness and healthy longevity, to help you with sleep and maybe even see some lucid dreams. So for enhancing your mindfulness practices. So there are a lot of things. And this is pretty much what we already talked about. This is a reminder of our robbers and guardians. To have their super brain, please remember that not enough or too much are either toxicity or deficiency, and try to be mindful and not doing either too much or too little. Okay, so as a takeaway, I would like you to remember to lower the burden of something toxic, and to really, you know, to bring in everything that you need, all the raw materials, because luckily you don't need to even know how to use them. You know, your beautiful brain, your soul, they know what to do. Just our job is to stop sabotaging and you know, get what is needed. And please remember to have fun and play to create this beautiful neuroplasticity that is the flow of the healthy brain. So learn something new. And please think about what you learned today, and you know, you can write to me or just answer to yourself which of the hacks spoke to you. And if you would like the presentation again, here is my email. And also, if you would like to book with a personal consultation, or you know, your company would like to have some webinars or you know, consultancy, please feel free. Okay, so thank you very much.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Olga. And thank you to everyone for joining us. If you purchase the tickets on Eventbrite, I can also send you Olga's email so you guys can reach out to her if you would like to get these slides. But until next time, all right. Thank you so much, Olga. Everybody take care and have a happy Mid-Autumn Festival. Bye.
Thank you. It was a great month. You know, I appreciate the Hive's virtual wellness month.
Great.
As a participant and a facilitator both, I enjoyed it. So
Great.
thank you.
We're happy to hear that. Okay. All right. Well, take care, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.